So, why is it important to look after your mental well-being and how do you do it? It sounds obvious, it sounds easy, but so many people don't look after their mental health and well-being proactively on a conscious level. It's unbelievably important thing to do because when you look after your mental and emotional well-being, you actually are better placed to look after yourself as a whole being. Your mind and body are inextricably linked. When you look after your physical health, it helps your mental health. When you look after your mental health, it helps your physical health. All of those help your emotional health and vice versa. You are a whole person, and you are the only person who is absolutely 100% guaranteed to be with you for the rest of your life. The only person in your life right now who is absolutely guaranteed to stay with you through thick and thin for the rest of your life is you. And so it makes sense for us to put ourselves first, for us to look after ourselves proactively, not when we realize something's dipping or we're struggling with something. Obviously, we're going to do things to help ourselves in those situations, but actually making the effort to proactively look after yourself every single day of your life will pay you absolute dividends in the long term. You will help yourself through stressful situations more easily. You will lessen occurrences of things like anxiety, depression, lack of confidence. You'll lessen things like the likelihood of things like that happening if you proactively look after yourself every day. I talk to people a lot about being selfish. I have an issue with the word selfish because actually, if you look at the word, it's just self-ish. Of the self. That's all that word means. And yet, as human beings, we have given it just such a negative connotation that we're not allowed to be selfish. We shouldn't blow our own trumpets or put ourselves first or look after ourselves in any way. We shouldn't talk about how brilliant we are. We should do all of that for other people, but not for ourselves. Goodness gracious me. I actively encourage people to be selfish and to remove the negative connotation from it. Because the truth is, when you actively look after yourself, when you actively put yourself first and understand how important you are in your own life, then you are a million times, that may be a slight exaggeration, a million times better placed to help and look after other people if that's what you want to do. When you are not looking after yourself, you cannot fully help and support other people in the way that you might want to. When you start looking after your mental and emotional well-being proactively on a daily basis, you will experience the most beautiful side effects. You will find that you will be able to sleep better. You will be able to concentrate more easily. You will be able to focus on things more easily and more clearly, and you will feel calmer and more content as you move through your days. When difficult or challenging things happen, they'll start to simply wash off you rather than drowning you. When we're stressed or anxious or depressed, we don't function fully. This beautiful thing inside your head, the mind, the brain that you've been gifted with, cannot operate properly or fully or to the best of its potential if you are experiencing things like stress, anxiety, depression. So when you proactively look after yourself, you're already putting yourself a step ahead. So how do we do that? How do we look after our mental and emotional well-being? I'm going to share with you 4 of my top tips, 4 of the key areas that I talk to my clients about looking at and working on. The absolute first one is to feel the feels, is to feel the emotions that you are feeling, is to allow yourself to experience and fully feel every single one of the emotions that you experience. Bless our cotton socks, as human beings, when we experience an emotion that we don't like the feeling of, a difficult or a challenging emotion, what we try to do is either distract ourselves, ignore it, run away from it, push against it. We try not to feel it. We try not to acknowledge it. And in that reaction, in any one of those reactions to that emotion, what we're not doing is allowing that emotion to deliver the message that it has for us. All of your emotions have a job to do. All of your emotions are valid. All of your emotions are simply trying to tell you something. Joy is just telling you that this thing that you're experiencing is ace. Sadness is telling you that maybe this is the kind of thing that you don't want to experience in your life. Anxiety is trying to tell you that you're in some kind of danger. Stress actually is trying to tell you to slow down and look after yourself. Every single one of your emotions or your emotional states has a message for you. But when we experience the ones we don't like, we try not to feel them. And what happens then is that emotion tends to get stuck inside our physical body. Emotions are simply energy. They're made of energy. Emotions are emotion, energy in motion through your physical body. That's what an emotion is. It's energy in motion through your physical body. And when we try not to feel them, what happens is we stop them in their tracks. We stop them in their tracks and they get stuck. They get stuck inside our body, which can cause all kinds of physical, mental, and emotional difficulties for us. So the thing that we're trying not to feel, we end up holding on to, which makes no logical sense whatsoever. So the easiest thing that you can do, simplest thing that you can do, it's not necessarily easy, is to allow yourself to sit with those emotions. And that's part of the reason why people like me exist, so that we can hold your hand as you go through that process, as you allow yourself to sit in the space of that emotion, as you allow it to run through you, as you allow yourself to experience it, because you will come out the other side of it. The only way through something is through it. But we don't want to go through those difficult emotions. So allowing yourself to simply sit and be in that energy, you'll come out the other side of it. And I promise you will never experience that emotion in the same way again. So that would be the first top tip. The second top tip is to allow yourself to be as present as you possibly can, to allow yourself to live in this moment right now. Because I'll tell you a secret, this moment right now is all any of us have ever got. Right now is all we have as human beings. But instead of rooting ourselves in this moment, what we do is we spend time living in the past, where whatever rubbish might have happened, and we pick that past up and we bring it into the now, and we allow it to affect our thoughts, our feelings, and our emotions right now, and our behaviors right now. But it doesn't belong in the present. It belongs in the past. It's done, it's gone, it's happened, it's past. But we keep it alive. We regurgitate it. We talk about it. We keep it alive inside us. And if we're not living in the past, we're fretting about the future. What might be, what could be, what might happen, what might not happen. Something happens, and within 5 minutes, you've catastrophized it to the nth degree, and the whole world's ended. But the only place that anything's actually happened is in your mind. One of the things I am as a mindfulness practitioner, and the key concept of mindfulness, is to root yourself in the present moment. Not the past, not the future, but right here, right now. How do you do that? One of my favorite ways to teach my clients to do this is to ask them to set a timer on their phone or their device for 1 minute. To find somewhere comfortable for that 1 minute where you won't be interrupted, close your eyes and simply focus on every breath in and every breath out. Every breath in is a moment in time. Every breath out is a moment in time. There is nothing more in the moment than your breathing. When you've got to maybe 3 or 4 breaths, your mind will start to wander off, because that's its job. It's made to think. That's okay. Allow it to do that. When you notice that your mind has wandered off, just gently bring it back to your breath. It'll wander off again. Just gently bring it back to your breath, just for 1 minute. Do that every day. You will start to find that you feel more present, you feel calmer and more content within yourself, and you are able to be more present throughout different stages of your day. I have clients that do that once a day. I have clients that set timers on their phone, do it on the hour, every hour. I have clients that do it on an ad hoc basis numerous times to punctuate the beginning and end of each section of their day. Have a play with it and see how it works for you. But start rooting yourself in this moment, not the past, not the future, but right here. My third top tip for looking after your mental and emotional well-being is to actively practice acceptance. Acceptance of whatever is. Acceptance of whatever is in front of you right now. Because what we do as human beings, and this ties back in with the emotions thing, what we do as human beings, when we come up against something in our lives that we don't like, our instinct is to push against it, is to go, no, I don't want this situation to be happening. No, I don't want that thing to be part of my life. No, I don't want this relationship to be doing this. We get angry and we push against those things. And we put resistance into them. And what we're doing when we put resistance into those things is we're putting energy into those things that we don't want. That's where our energy is going, into our awareness and focus on the thing that we don't want, rather than into the things that we do want. And so practicing acceptance allows us to simply remove that energy, to not put our energy into the things that we don't want, which means, amazingly, we have more energy for the things we do want. Do you see how that works? And actually, when we push against something, when we resist something, that's where suffering happens. That's where pain comes from. That's where suffering happens. When we allow ourselves to accept where we are, to accept whatever's happening, we remove all of that pain and all of that suffering really easily. The easiest way that I teach my clients to start practicing acceptance is to repeat this mantra: I am where I am, and that's okay. And there'll be a little part of your mind that will go, well, it's not okay because I don't want to be where I am. But here's the thing, that's resistance. So I am where I am, and that's okay. And why is it okay? Well, it has to be okay because it's where I am. So you kind of go round in that circle. I am where I am, and that's okay. And it has to be okay because it is where I am. So I am where I am, and that's okay. Get into the habit of repeating that and start practicing acceptance for yourself. And the last way, that the fourth top tip that I want to share with you for looking after your mental and emotional well-being is to practice appreciation, gratitude, gladness, whatever you want to call it. The deepest practice is appreciation. And the way that I teach people to do this is to play something called the GLAD exercise. And what you do is you sit down at the end of your day, you reflect back over that particular day, and the rules are that you have to find at least 5 things from that day that you are glad about. And they can be anything at all. They can be big, deep, and meaningful things. They can be small, simple things. It doesn't matter what they are, as long as they are things that have made you glad as you walk through your day. It could be that perfect cup of tea that you made yourself at breakfast time. I'm glad that I got a hug with someone that I loved. I'm glad that I got that piece of work finished. I'm glad that the sun was shining. I'm glad that I got to take a walk in nature. They can be absolutely anything, as long as they are things that have put a smile on your face as you've gone through your day. As human beings, we are absolutely wired to see and hold on to the negative things, in inverted commas, rather than the positive things, in inverted commas. I don't really believe in positive and negative anymore. It's easier for us to see the bad stuff, if you like, than it is to notice and hold on to the stuff that's brilliant and beautiful and there for us to appreciate all the time. And what this simple exercise does is start training your brain to look at that side of life, to look at those things that are there for you to appreciate, the things that are always in front of you, the things that you walk past with blinkers on every single day of your life and don't take the time or the effort to appreciate them. The GLAD exercise, sitting down at the end of the day and reflecting back over that day and finding as many of those things as possible, will revolutionize the way you see your life. And that's not an exaggeration. This technique changed my life all by itself about 13 years ago when I started practicing it on a daily basis. It just helps you to completely acknowledge and appreciate every single aspect of your life. And there are way more brilliant things in this life than there are rubbish. We're just not conditioned, we're not programmed to find them. There is always good stuff. Always, 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 even in the day from hell. We're just programmed to find the difficult stuff more easily. So what practicing the GLOUD exercise does is help you find that good stuff and hold on to it. So there you go. That's why it's important for you to look after your mental and emotional well-being on the daily. And that is what we teach at the Happiness Club. And there are some practical tools for you to start using to start helping yourself look after you.